Hello my friends, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. We're going to talk a new Too Faced eyeshadow palette. We have to try this out because, as you know, the Christmas launches just fell so short. Too Faced did me so wrong, and so I am super excited to try this palette out. I have been waiting for it. It's the super springy palette we saw a couple months ago, and it's finally here. So if you're interested in seeing if this palette is right for you, how it worked for me, let's put this on the eyes, let's do some swatches, then just keep on watching. So let's get started out with just packaging, price, all of that good stuff. So this was a $39 palette, which if you remember these smaller palettes, they've done one before, and it is the Teddy Bear palette. So they're keeping in line apparently with this size, with this price point, which I don't mind because I'd rather pay less and get a little bit less to begin with. So this is super springy, very in line with the upcoming season, and it does have like a very butterfly themed packaging. It's got the layout on the back. I did notice that the box has stickers on top to cover what was already printed on the box. Now I didn't take off what was on the back, but I did peel off, just out of curiosity, I had peeled this one off, and I noticed that the sticker has a couple of line items listed in French, whereas this one only has one. So I don't know, it looks like there's a little bit more of a description in French on here, and then they kind of just like covered it up like that, which is strange. Anyways, so it's the Femme Ethereal palette. Again, very, very springy. Then you get into the palette. And I will say, I feel like I had heard that this one was more on the lines of recyclable material. I can't remember if I'm just making that up, but it definitely is cardboard. And I have to say that the actual cover is super plain. Yes, it has the pretty butterflies and everything, but there's really nothing more to that. And if you compare it to the Teddy Bear palette, this one was just so over the top because it had the raised teddy bear. It has like this, I like this kind of plastic packaging. A lot of people don't because of the whole recyclable aspect, but I keep my palettes. And so for me, this was well worth the money. And I'm a packaging type of girl. So when I saw and felt this one, I was a little disappointed. But anyways, this is what it looks like, just so that you know. It is regular cardboard packaging. So then you get on the inside and it's got the butterflies around the mirror. And then here are the eyeshadows. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 14 eyeshadows, 2 of the larger ones, just like the Teddy Bear palette. Super springy, very in line with March, April. Like, this does put you in the spring mood. So we're gonna go through swatches so that you can see what they look like on my skin tone, on a deeper skin tone. There are some more metallic, sparklier shades, again, very in line with the Teddy Bear palette, but I will also show you a quick side-by-side because this is completely different from the Teddy Bear. There are really, aside from this deep brown, that there is another rich chocolate brown in the Teddy Bear. Aside from that, it is pretty much very different. So that being said, let's go ahead and go into swatches so that we can put this on my eyes together, and then we'll talk final thoughts. I'm going to start off with the shade Pretty Powerful using a Sephora blending brush that I got from a set this past holiday season, and just dust this all over my crease area, taking it a little bit higher. It's a beautiful shade because you can layer it really nicely, but even one layer is enough, and it just goes on really smoothly. Very, very nice matte shade. So next up, I'm going to go in with the deepest shade in the palette called Free to Be Femme. So just going to place this with I think this is a Sonia Kashuk brush, in the outermost portion of my crease as well as my lid. I don't know why, I don't know if it's like my eyes are deeper set, but that area at the top where my crease meets my lid or my eyeball, whatever, I really struggle to get eyeshadow in there, and I always end up with a little bald spot. So if that's what you end up seeing, it's definitely not the eyeshadow, it is me. It happens every single time. I did layer this a couple of times because, of course, this is going to be the smokiest shade of the bunch that we're going to use, and I really want it to show up. So using my Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer, my tried and true, of course. This is a tacky eye base that I use anytime I'm going to use a sparkly, metallic, foiled shade because it really just makes it pop. And you're probably tired of hearing me say that video in and video out. Now I'm going to go in with the shade Think Pink. Now I'm going to tell you, this is a very chunky shade. It does have loose glitters in there. They're silver. This is such a beautiful shade. It's very stunning. But if you are not a fan of chunky glitter, of shades that don't have the sparkle actually built into the formula, then this may not be for you. It is right up my alley. It's beautiful and it stands out. It packs a punch, and this eye primer is perfect for letting that adhere. So just using a Morphe detailer brush, just going to go in with a little bit on the brush to get it into the area of my lid that I couldn't reach with my finger, and just filling in any kind of sparse areas. So now using a little smudger brush, also by Morphe, I'm going to go in with that Mint to Be shade. Now this is crazy because when I first opened this palette when it arrived, I honestly thought that it wasn't going to be much. I thought it was going to be actually quite disappointing because in past palettes, shades like that just don't perform well. I was very mistaken. This shade is beautiful. It is so minty, girly, but it also has like a twinkle, like a sparkle. It's beautiful, and I'm just really going to enjoy using it over the course of this spring. So going back in with that deepest shade, Free to Be Femme, and just placing a little bit more down, what I lost in translation once I laid down my sparkly shades, just adding a little bit more of that in. So now going back in with my finger in that Think Pink shade, I feel like there's a little bit of back and forth with this because you lose a little bit of one, you gotta add the other. And so just kind of to your desired intense, I don't know if intensity is the word, but basically once you're happy with everything where it's at, then you move on, which is what I did. So then going in with Too Femme on a IT Cosmetics smudger brush and just taking this as my lower lash line shade. Definitely didn't add that on top, but kind of wanted to change it up. And y'all, I forgot to come back with the final look, but here we go. I hope you found both of those segments helpful. I hope the swatches kind of gave you an idea of what the shades would look like on your skin tone. And then I hope the demo helped with how I apply my eyeshadows and how they performed on me and my skin tone, so that again, you know if by chance it will work for you if you've had your eye on this one. So let's talk final thoughts. First, let me give you just a quick side-by-side with the Teddy Bear palette. So here is the Teddy Bear palette. It's very neutral. It does have a little bit of pink. You've got this kind of corally pink, but it is neutral in that it's got a little bit of pink here, but golds, and honestly, I just consider this a flat-out neutral palette. So then side-by-side with the new Ethereal palette, see if I can do this without blinding you here. So here is what they look like side by side. So the metallics are actually different. I know they look somewhat similar, but this definitely is more in line with the fresh floral type of shades than this neutral palette. So here is the side by side, and that way you can see what they look like together. And that way, if you own Teddy Bear, you'll know how different this one is going to be. So let's go ahead and talk about this one. I have to say I was very pleasantly surprised with this one. I was so disappointed with the Christmas releases from the brand that I just didn't know how we were gonna go into spring with this one, given those were so, in my opinion, just they weren't standout, they weren't stellar. Anyways, and they're not typically super amazing, but sometimes there's some good ones, and Holiday did just not have that. So this particular palette actually really surprised me. I think it's a really great price point because a lot of palettes now are in the $50, $60, even $70 price range. So for $39 to have smaller pan sizes, totally worth it. And then the ones that I feel like that they think people are going to use most, they've made them bigger pan sizes so that you don't go through them as fast. I love a good metallic foiled finish to an eyeshadow, and this delivers that. Now I will tell you that the shade that I used on the lid, which is this pink one right here, it's got chunks of silver glitters in there. So a lot of times Too Faced will kind of build the glitter or the sparkle within the formula of the eyeshadow, and this one's a little bit different in that the glitter is chunky. So just be forewarned if you're not a fan of like pressed glitters, you know, that kind of thing. This does have significant amount of chunky glitter in it. It's beautiful and I love it, but I know not a lot of people will. This light green right here, I thought was going to be, when I first opened it up and looked at it, I thought it was going to be dusty. I thought it was going to be just such a dud, and it was anything but. So this is one of those examples where it looks like it might be kind of lackluster in the pan, and once you put it on the eye, it just transforms. It's so beautiful. It has a twinkle, it has a brightness, and it just really stands out, which was quite surprising to me. So the one that I wasn't super crazy about in this palette was this lavender right here, just because it's so light that I don't feel like it does a lot, but it does fall in line with the whole ethereal look. For me, I probably won't get a whole lot of use out of it because I like things that pack a little bit more of a punch. As far as the mattes, these also perform really well. It's what I remember and love from the Teddy Bear palette. They're soft, they're blendable, they're pigmented, they're just so easy to use, and that there's this variety of colors where I've got like a couple neutrals, but I've also got like the bright springy colors. Really does I know I'm gonna reach for this because I've got a little bit of variety going on, and all of the mattes seem to perform really, really nicely in here. So that being said, this palette is completely worth it if it is up your alley color wise, if it's something that you've just been eyeing for the spring. 39 bucks, and I really do think it is worth your while. It is available at Sephora and Ulta. I know I'm gonna get plenty of use out of this one. All right, friends, thanks again for stopping by and spending some time with me today. I hope you found this video helpful if you've been eyeing that palette. But before I let you go, I need to give you a quick verse of the day to motivate you, encourage you, and to tell you that Jesus loves you. Today's comes from Psalm 37:5, and it says, "Commit your way to the Lord, trust in him." It is my prayer that if you don't already know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, that he would make himself very, very real to you in this moment, that as you and I are chatting right now, that you would just feel that pull on your heart, that you would hear him calling your name, because a life with him truly is so, so amazing. All right, friends. Well, that being said, we will wrap up today's video, but I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care. Bye.